So
Yeah.
Shanita is here because basically she said that we're not bringing up what the ladies want to hear. She has some questions that we're gonna go through, and hopefully we can, I guess, help ladies understand our viewpoints as black males, and hopefully that helps y'all better in the dating realm.
Dating scene. Yeah.
So I just thought this would be a great opportunity. I mean, y'all have covered some heavy topics, but for the ladies that listen, they've been waiting for this moment of saying, okay, let's do something a little fun and really get into y'all heads and ask some questions that we haven't been able to ask before, especially since we have 4 men at the table, 4 black men at the table, and so very prevalent topic at the moment is about how to find a spouse in a hookup culture.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a great one right there.
Hey, loaded
So
question.
that is what I am
Loaded question.
bringing to the table for these 4 men today. And so I want to talk about this just because, there's so many stats out there talking about how, number one, just millennials in general and Gen Z, they're not getting married. They find the whole system obsolete. But I have to say, in terms of my circle and women that I meet that I know, they believe in the institution of marriage. And the problem is really finding a spouse. And it's not about, oh my goodness, I have a list of 30. I mean, some of my friends do. Mm-hmm. But, with us being in our 30s, a lot of those lists that were once that, had 30 items on it now has 3.
That's the
and
problem
it's like,
right there. You got a list.
Well, but my point is now that list is just 3. Meaning I want someone who's this.
Because you're just settling at this point. Are you saying that?
Not even settling, but now as you become older, you realize that, hold on, in the end, I need someone who's just really caring, who's working, and who's decent. You know what I mean? So it gets real to the stuff that, should have been on your list in the first place when you were in your 20s. But
they get older and realize that those things doesn't matter. The things that they did have on their list.
Right. So that's what I want to talk about. So first, I want to put this out here. Just some stats. So the median age for first marriage had reached its highest point on record in 2018, 30 years for men and 28 years for women, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. And the median age is 30.4 for black women. And that's actually 4 years older than the median age for white women. So,
but you don't see that. I see that as a great thing. I don't know if you see it as negative, but I see that as a great thing because I think that people are taking marriages seriously. That's why they're waiting longer to do it, and they're actually waiting until they're actually ready. I mean, you guys got married at what age? Early 20s, right?
Yeah, I was 25. You were 23, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like for me, that's like an anomaly for that to happen. I was 34 when I got married, so. I just think that for people starting later, I think, to me, that sounds like a great thing. It seems like people are taking it seriously and not just jumping into it.
Well, I guess it depends on from your perspective because, of course, for you, you're the catch in a sense, in terms of there's more women than men.
Oh, I'm definitely the catch.
Yeah, so...
Know your worth, King.
Yeah. I know my value.
So for you see that as a good thing, but for most women who have the combination of wanting a career as well as trying to find a relationship, that's probably a little bit sad because not only do you have lesser options, especially if you're that black woman who wants to marry a black man, which we know that's an issue in itself in terms of them dating outside their race. Getting married at an older age is more of a stress if you really want to kind of accomplish the things of having a husband, kids, and all of that as well. I don't know if you would agree or disagree with that, Shanita, as far as from a woman's perspective. Is getting married older a stress on women?
To get married older, I honestly, I think with women, like when I see the 30.4, it makes me think about the fact that a lot of the women, especially black women, they're actually ready to get married after 20, right after 25. And so it's not so much as, a point of, okay, I'm waiting to my 30s. Although you do have a group that's doing that now because, women are more independent because, more women are educated. But a lot of women, by the time they hit 25, have already accomplished that MBA or higher degree. And they're like, I can start thinking about the next phase of my life. So that 30.4 is more of a result of
It's
the
our
pickings.
fault. It's our fault,
I
is
didn't
what
wanna
you're
say
saying.
That's deep. Okay, I didn't do
That's
that.
how long it takes to find.
But then it
the
goes
mate.
back to you saying that your friends had a list.
Mm-hmm.
So at what age did they have this list of 30 things that they were looking for in a person, which means that they either found somebody that was great and it didn't have one or two things on their list, and they decided that they walked away from that person because he didn't have those two things that were on their list. He was just missing two things, but he was actually a great person and evolved and became even better and may have 50 things that you weren't even thinking about. So that's where it comes down to, is like you go into it with a mentality of looking for a person that checks all the boxes. But not everyone is going to check.
Nobody's going to check
all the boxes.
Nobody.
Well, right. But that is my question for you all today, because guess what? I'm talking about the women who are, in their 30s and older, and that list is either non-existent or has been significantly reduced.
So now we're going into the point whereas those men that you're looking for are already probably in established relationships or getting married. So
I disagree. I think that there's circle. It depends on your circle. I think I'm literally the only single person in the group, and I have recently gone back into the dating pool. I think that for me, it probably is a similar experience, especially for Black men trying to date Black men. I think it's difficult because you can only lower your standards so low, right? So you can only say, I want these deal breakers, and it seems like you never find them. What I'm finding is that you have to look at your circle. What circles are you involved in? Because if what you're not finding, you're always not finding it. Look at what you associate yourself with, what you're around. And I mean, I don't know if professionally, usually professional circles will put you into different types of, experiences, different types of people. But I think you should start there first. And that's going to kind of tailor what you're given or what options you see is available.
But also, we had a cousin, it's my wife's cousin, and she's single. She's in her 40s, I think. And she's single, and they was like, well, she's just this great person. Why hasn't she found someone? And I was like, I always hate to I gotta be the bad guy here. And so I was like, well.
Are you about to say she's not great? What are you about to say?
No, I'm going to say that.
Yeah, I thought he was going to say
No, what I'm going to say is that if all these relationships failed, she's the only constant. So we can't keep blaming every male when you're the only constant here.
right.
So I would ask first.
Well,
You have to look at yourself first to see what you're projecting out there. And if you have that list, are you knocking people off because they don't have one or two things on that list? Like all those factors still matter, but you got to look at
I
yourself.
think it goes back to basically what I was saying and what Ed was saying. It's like if you keep that list and people don't have those points and you just throw them away because of that, or you still stuck in the same circle that you have and you keep meeting the same person in that circle, then you have to evaluate yourself in the circle that you're in and try to move out of it. So it can go
Because it's great dudes out there. To sit here and act like the pool is non-existent is just.
It can seem that way, honestly, from my experience. It can seem that way, and what you're saying is also valid. And I like your call out also about yourself. I think that for me, I've had to do a lot of reflection because my relationships all haven't worked. So yes, there are a lot of things that my exes did that were problematic, but I also had to look at myself and see the things that I also project and things that the behaviors that I also have that are toxic as well. So I think there does have to be some self-reflection. And then from there, also your circle as well.